Now, were you able to wear undergarments?
What is going on? Since when did people start asking each other in interviews about their underwear?
Celebrities frequently participate in interviews to discuss their newest projects or personal matters, yet these conversations can go awry when interviewers stray from the topic or pose inappropriate questions, often provoking the celebrity's fury.
How disappointing was that question?
A notable example is Samuel L. Jackson, who humorously but sharply ended an interview when questioned about an event he hadn't attended.
The Super Bowl commercial, did you get a lot of reaction to that Super Bowl commercial?
What Super Bowl commercial?
This scenario is not unique to him, as many celebrities have also faced similar situations.
We've been told that you didn't help the prosecution sort of in this very important case.
Sorry.
So, thank you so much.
Sorry.
Goodbye.
Oh, wow!
Join us as we explore some intriguing moments when celebrities lost their cool with disrespectful interviewers. Floyd Mayweather. In 2009, undefeated boxer Floyd Mayweather was ready to discuss his illustrious career during a SportsCenter interview with host Brian Kenny. The interview took an immediate turn for the worse when Kenny referred to Mayweather as a former number one, a comment that visibly angered the boxer. From that moment on, Mayweather was on the defensive, dodging Kenny's probing questions and frequently interrupting to assert his dominance in the conversation.
We welcome into SportsCenter the former #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world.
Hey, how you doing? I'm not no former #1 pound-for-pound fighter. I'm just saying I'm the best fighter.
Mayweather's agitation was evident as he refused to give straightforward answers, instead choosing to verbally spar with Kenny. "I'm still the best, I never lost my spot," Mayweather insisted, challenging the very premise of Kenny's questions.
But what happens is you informed Ring Magazine you were
once again,
retiring as welterweight champion.
I already forgot who I'm talking to. I'm talking to Brian Kenny.
Despite Kenny's efforts to steer the interview back on track, the boxer's combative demeanor ensured the conversation remained tense and chaotic. Kenny attempted to delve into Mayweather's strategies, past fights, and future plans, but each query was met with resistance. Mayweather dismissed Kenny's points, often turning the questions back on the host. At one point, Mayweather declared, "You don't know boxing," effectively turning the interview into a one-sided debate about his supremacy in the sport.
We know you don't know nothing about boxing. Finish going.
This interview echoes a similar tense exchange in 2001 when ESPN's Chris Fowler interviewed Mike Tyson. Fowler's probing questions about Tyson's controversial behavior and upcoming fights led to Tyson becoming increasingly agitated and defensive, creating another memorable moment of a boxer verbally clashing with a sports journalist. By the time the Mayweather-Kenny interview ended, it was clear that Mayweather had dominated the exchange, much like he dominated his opponents in the ring. Jim Everett. April 1994, tensions flared during an interview on Jim Rome's Talk 2 show when former NFL quarterback Jim Everett was repeatedly taunted by Rome. Known for his provocative style, Rome initially referred to Everett as Chris, mocking him with a name associated with the female tennis star Chris Evert.
Check that, Chris Everett, good to have you on the show. You know what?
Everett, visibly displeased, warned Rome after the first jab to stop using the name. However, Rome persisted, escalating the situation with another jab. Everett's patience wore thin as Rome continued to push his luck, making the joke repeatedly.
And if you guys want to take a station break, you can. But if you call me Chris Everett to my face one more time...
I already did it twice.
You better, if you call it one more time, we better take a station break.
Fueled by frustration and the implication that he lacked toughness, Everett's reaction was swift and physical. He overturned the table between them and lunged at Rome, knocking him to the ground. The clash unfolded dramatically on live television. In the aftermath, Jim Rome expressed regret for his handling of the interview, acknowledging that his persistent provocation had crossed the line of professionalism. Meanwhile, Jim Everett defended his actions, asserting that Rome's repeated jabs were unacceptable and had provoked an emotional response. Samuel L. Jackson. KTLA anchor Sam Rubin welcomed actor Samuel L. Jackson via satellite for what was expected to be a routine interview to discuss Jackson's role in the upcoming film RoboCop. However, things took an unexpected turn when Rubin asked Jackson about his recent Super Bowl campaign.
I tell you what, you working for Marvel, the Super Bowl commercial, did you get a lot of reaction to that Super Bowl commercial?
The issue was that Jackson had not appeared in any recent Super Bowl commercial. Rubin had confused him with Lawrence Fishburne, who starred in a Kia commercial during the Super Bowl. Jackson's response was swift and pointed. "We don't all look alike," he exclaimed, highlighting the offensive nature of the mistake. He further remarked, "What Super Bowl commercial? You're as crazy as the people on Twitter. I'm not Lawrence Fishburne."
You're as crazy as the people on Twitter. Right. I'm not Lawrence Fishburne.
Jackson continued to chastise Rubin, emphasizing that as an entertainment reporter, Rubin should have known the difference between him and Fishburne. Despite Rubin's attempts to apologize and move on, Jackson repeatedly brought the conversation back to the error, making it clear how unacceptable it was.
My mistake. You know what?
We don't all look alike.
Father, you're exactly
We may be all black and famous, but we all don't look alike.
Jackson humorously distinguished himself by referencing his own commercial work and even noted he had never done a McDonald's or KFC commercial. Mike Tyson. In January 1999, anticipation was in the air as Mike Tyson prepared for his much-anticipated comeback fight against Francois Buffer. This fight represented more than just a return to the ring for Tyson. It was an opportunity to redeem his tarnished image. During the interview, Russ Salzberg brought up Tyson's controversial past. With careful wording, Salzberg asked if Tyson felt he needed to prove himself to the public and his critics. Tyson's demeanor shifted instantly. His response was an onslaught of expletives that stunned everyone. "You're a piece of shit," Tyson snapped, his eyes blazing with anger. The expletives kept coming as Tyson's frustration erupted.
I don't know anything about that. I don't know nothing about numbers. I just know what I can do. How about kill this mother?
Salzberg, keeping his composure, attempted to redirect the conversation to the fight. "Let's talk about Buffer," he urged, but Tyson was too agitated. The boxer continued his tirade, his language becoming more explicit and aggressive. It was evident that Tyson had no intention of being calmed or refocused. As the interview wore on, Salzberg found himself in an increasingly challenging situation. His goal was to salvage the discussion, but Tyson's outburst made that impossible. Realizing the need to end it, Salzberg began to wrap up the interview. Yet even in the final moments, Tyson made sure to get in a few more profanities before the camera cut away. Vince McMahon. In March 2001, an explosive moment in sports media unfolded when WWE chairman Vince McMahon appeared on Bob Costas' HBO show On the Record. McMahon was there to defend the XFL, his newly launched football league that aimed to blend sports with WWE-style entertainment. The league had been struggling with poor ratings and harsh criticism, and Costas didn't hold back. The interview began with Costas questioning McMahon about the XFL's vision and its disappointing performance. The tension escalated when Costas suggested that the XFL was more about spectacle than serious sport, and implied that McMahon's approach was fundamentally flawed. This line of questioning touched a nerve. McMahon's response was immediate and fiery. Leaning forward aggressively, he pointed a finger at Costas and launched into a tirade, accusing the host of being biased and unfair.
Shut your mouth and let me answer the question, all right? I'll be happy to answer. You got a situation that you don't know what you're talking about.
McMahon's anger was palpable as he defended his league with a series of vague threats and confrontational rhetoric. Despite Costas' attempts to steer the conversation back to civility, McMahon's outburst dominated the exchange. Charlie Sheen. In 2011, amidst a whirlwind of controversy and personal turmoil, Charlie Sheen took center stage in a pivotal interview on ABC's Good Morning America. The interview unfolded against the backdrop of Sheen's highly publicized departure from the hit television show 2.5 Men, and his turbulent personal life marked by substance abuse and erratic behavior. As the interview progressed, journalist Andrea Canning delved into sensitive topics, probing Sheen about his tumultuous lifestyle, strained relationships, and the impact on his family. Sheen, known for his unfiltered candor and propensity to push back against media scrutiny, grew visibly agitated. When questioned about his family's support amidst his public struggles, Sheen's frustration reached a boiling point. In a tense exchange, Sheen criticized the media's portrayal of his personal life, accusing them of sensationalism and unfair portrayal. Tom Cruise. In a 2005 interview on 60 Minutes, Tom Cruise found himself in a tense exchange with journalist Peter Overton when asked about his ex-wife Nicole Kidman, 4 years after their divorce. The incident resurfaced when Tom Cruise was promoting a new movie in Australia. During the interview, Overton pressed Cruise about whether Nicole Kidman was the love of his life, to which Cruise responded cautiously, affirming his love for Kidman without delving into specifics. As the questioning continued into their post-divorce relationship and parenting, Cruise became visibly uncomfortable.
You're stepping over a line now. You're stepping over a line. You know you are.
Cruise interrupted Overton, clearly displeased with the direction of the interview. He asserted that Overton needed to take responsibility for his questions rather than attributing them to public curiosity. When asked if he felt Overton was out of line, Cruise bluntly replied, "Yes, absolutely." Overton then apologized sincerely, acknowledging the discomfort caused by his questions. The interview resumed, but the tense moment has already stopped the flow of the interview. Scarlett Johansson. While promoting her role as Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson encountered an awkward and disrespectful question from a journalist about her costume. The reporter brazenly asked if she wore underwear beneath the tie outfit.
Now, were you able to wear undergarments?
What is going on? Since when did people start asking each other about in interviews about their underwear?
Upset, Johansson challenged the appropriateness of such questions during interviews. She cleverly responded that it was up to the audience's imagination to decide what she wore under the costume. Although the reporter attempted to justify his question, Johansson didn't let it pass, pointing out that male actors or directors are never asked such questions. Johansson has consistently criticized such objectifying inquiries. On another occasion, she was questioned about her character's costume change in Avengers: Infinity War. Finding the question irrelevant, she struggled to respond, highlighting her frustration with the media's focus on superficial elements of her roles. Naomi Campbell. In 2010, Naomi Campbell, an iconic figure in the fashion world, found herself thrust into the spotlight once again, but this time not for her runway prowess. The occasion was an interview with ABC News, conducted amidst her involvement in a high-profile legal case concerning alleged blood diamonds and her ties to former Liberian President Charles Taylor. The interview was intended to delve into Campbell's role in a controversy stemming from a charity event in 1997, where she was rumored to have received a rough diamond from Taylor. As the interviewer pressed her on whether she knowingly accepted diamonds linked to Taylor's alleged illicit activities, Campbell's discomfort became palpable. Firmly reiterating her stance of non-involvement in Taylor's trial, she abruptly halted the discussion, stating firmly, "I didn't receive a diamond and I'm not going to speak about that, thank you very much. Goodbye." Rihanna. Rihanna, known for her poison wit, has faced her fair share of intrusive questions during interviews. One notable incident occurred when a reporter delved into her personal life, specifically rumors about her relationship with a certain actor she had been photographed with earlier that year, sparking speculation. During the press conference, the interviewer pressed Rihanna about these rumors, probing into her private affairs. Rihanna, maintaining her composure, swiftly shut down the line of questioning with grace and assertiveness.
Wow, how disappointing was that question?
We've got to move on. I think
I'm
there's a
happy
question
and I'm
here.
single, if that's what you're really asking.
With this subtle yet definitive response, Rihanna redirected the conversation back to her work and accomplishments. She skillfully steered away from the intrusive topic, emphasizing her professional endeavors rather than engaging in personal speculation. Robert Downey Jr. During an interview with Channel 4 reporter Krishnan Guru Murphy, Robert Downey Jr. initially engaged in promoting his movie, but things took a turn when Guru Murphy delved into personal topics unrelated to the film. When asked about a past quote from 2008 where Downey Jr. had commented on leaving prison and liberalism, the actor seemed confused but calmly mentioned that his views had evolved since then. However, Guru Murphy continued by probing into Downey Jr.'s late father and his history of drug use, which visibly upset the actor.
Your relationship with your father and the role of all of that in, the dark periods you entered and taking drugs and drinking and all of that.
Feeling his anger rising, Downey Jr. abruptly ended the interview.
Well, I'm just asking questions, that's all.
Right.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you, guys. Are you... Oh, I'm sorry.
Later, he expressed frustration, criticizing the interviewer for focusing on his personal past instead of discussing his current movie roles. He emphasized the inappropriate nature of the questions, especially in an interview meant for promoting a film rather than delving into private matters. Promoting Avengers: Age of Ultron. At the time, Downey Jr. made it clear that he expected the focus to be on the film and his professional endeavors, not on his personal life struggles or controversial statements from the past. Cara Delevingne. In July 2015, anticipation filled the set of Good Day Sacramento for a live interview with Cara Delevingne, the breakout star of the film Paper Towns. Known for her quick wit and charismatic presence, Delevingne was expected to bring energy to the morning show. However, the interview quickly took an awkward turn, leaving viewers and hosts in an uncomfortable silence. As the interview began, Delevingne appeared on screen looking calm and prepared. The hosts eagerly began the conversation by asking, "Did you get a chance to read the book?" referring to the John Green novel on which the movie is based.
No, I never read the book or the script, actually. I kind of winged it.
Delevingne, with a touch of sarcasm, replied, "No, I never read the book or the script. I just winged it." Her humor missed the mark, and the hosts struggled to respond. The tension escalated when one host remarked, "You seem a bit irritated. Are you just exhausted?" Delevingne, caught off guard, maintained her composure, but hinted at her frustration. "No, I'm not any less excited than I was a couple of weeks ago," she answered defensively. As the interview proceeded, the host's efforts to redirect the conversation only worsened the situation. One host, attempting humor, suggested she take a nap and drink a Red Bull, further increasing the awkwardness. In an effort to conclude the interview, another host wished Delevingne continued success. She responded courteously, but the unease of the encounter remained palpable. Jerry Seinfeld. In a memorable 2007 interview with Larry King, Jerry Seinfeld found himself in an awkward exchange when King implied that Seinfeld's iconic sitcom had been cancelled rather than ending on Seinfeld's own terms. Seinfeld, appearing on the show to promote his film B-Movie, was visibly surprised and then slightly irked by King's question. "You gave it up, right? They didn't cancel you? You cancelled them," King remarked, to which Seinfeld, momentarily taken aback, responded, "You're not aware of this?"
You're not aware of this?
No, I'm asking you.
You think I got canceled? Are you under the impression that I got canceled?
Have I hurt you, Jerry?
I thought that was pretty well documented.
"You think I got cancelled? I thought that was pretty well documented." Seinfeld's response reflected his clear surprise that King seemed unaware of the circumstances surrounding the end of Seinfeld. He clarified that NBC had actually offered him a substantial sum to continue the show for another season, but he chose to conclude it at its peak. As the interview continued, King attempted to smooth over the awkward moment, asking if he had hurt Seinfeld's feelings. Seinfeld, still somewhat bemused, quipped, "Is this still CNN?" a light-hearted jab at the situation. King persisted, suggesting that most shows experience a decline in viewership over time, prompting Seinfeld's witty retort, "Most people do also." Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson, renowned for his stringent rules and cautious demeanor in interviews, encountered several uncomfortable moments during a recent 2022 Fox interview and at past MTV Awards ceremonies. During the 2022 Fox interview, Gibson visibly struggled when confronted with questions about the notorious Oscar slap incident from the 1990s. His usual reluctance to delve into past controversies was palpable as he sidestepped the inquiry, clearly uneasy, demonstrating their adept management of his public image.
Have you ever thought about that?
Thank you, Jesse. That is our time.
Well, Mel, thank you very much for joining Jesse Waters Primetime, and we really appreciate it.
Gibson's team abruptly terminated the interview to prevent further discussion of the sensitive topic. Joan Rivers. In a memorable CNN interview, legendary comedian Joan Rivers clashed with interviewer Frederica Whitfield over questions regarding her fashion choices and stance on wearing fur. Rivers, known for her sharp wit and unapologetic demeanor, initially engaged in discussing her comedy and fashion opinions. However, the interview took a tense turn when Whitfield pressed Rivers about her use of fur in her wardrobe. Whitfield's persistent questioning about fur struck a nerve with Rivers, who felt the conversation was becoming overly negative. Expressing her frustration, Rivers openly criticized Whitfield for focusing on what she considered a controversial and sensitive issue. Unwilling to continue down that path, Rivers abruptly decided to end the interview.
Stop it with, and you do this, and you're mean, and you're that. You are not the one to interview a person who does humor. Sorry.
Catching Whitfield off guard and leaving the interviewer visibly stunned. Joan Rivers' decision to cut short the interview highlighted her outspoken nature and unwillingness to discuss certain topics she deemed too personal or contentious. While Rivers was known for her openness on many subjects, fur was evidently a line she chose not to cross during that particular interview. Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino's interview with Channel 4 news anchor Krishnan Guru Murphy before the London premiere of Django Unchained became notably contentious. Guru Murphy pressed Tarantino on the issue of movie violence and its potential impact on real-life behavior, which visibly angered the director. Tarantino, known for his provocative films laden with violence, staunchly defended his work as fantasy, separate from real-life consequences. When pressed by Guru Murphy about the enjoyment of screen violence and its correlation with real violence, Tarantino refused to engage, asserting,
My job to try and ask you to.
And I'm shutting your butt down.
And that's entirely your. That's entirely
This
your.
is a
your
commercial
right.
from my movie.
I'm shutting your butt down. It's none of your damn business what I think about that. The director emphasized that he had addressed this topic extensively throughout his career, dating back to his debut with Reservoir Dogs in 1992. He expressed frustration at being repeatedly questioned on the issue, stating, "The reason I don't want to talk about it is because I've already talked about it. I'm already on the record." Tarantino further criticized the focus on movie violence in light of real tragedies like the Newtown shooting. Justin Bieber. Justin Bieber has experienced several tense interview moments, especially when discussions veer into his personal life. Two particularly memorable incidents highlight his frustration with invasive questions. In 2015, Bieber was promoting his new music on the Spanish radio station Los 40 Principles. Initially, the conversation was light-hearted as the hosts discussed his latest projects and future plans. However, the tone shifted when the host began probing into Bieber's personal life, particularly his past relationship with Selena Gomez. Despite Bieber's efforts to redirect the conversation back to his music, the hosts persisted.
You. Because behind a great artist, there's always a great woman, so...
Sí.
Any woman?
Dice que es su
Behind
madre.
the
There's no woman. No, there's no woman.
No woman?
No.
You?
What do you mean?
When asked directly about Selena, Bieber replied, "I'd really like to talk more about my music." Nevertheless, the hosts continued to press, leading to Bieber's mounting frustration. He ultimately removed his headphones and walked out of the interview, leaving everyone in shock. Tom Hardy. During a press conference for his film Legend at the Toronto Film Festival, Tom Hardy encountered an awkward moment when a reporter from Daily Extra questioned him about his sexuality. The exchange quickly grew tense.
Do you find it hard for celebrities to talk to media about their sexuality?
What on earth are you on about?
The reporter referenced previous media reports suggesting an ambiguous sexuality, citing a 2008 interview with Attitude magazine where Hardy allegedly spoke about having gay flings in his youth. Clearly surprised, Hardy responded sharply, asking the reporter to clarify their question. When further pressed about whether celebrities find it challenging to discuss their sexuality, Hardy firmly denied any difficulty with the topic. "I don't find it difficult for celebrities to talk about their sexuality," he asserted, then pressed the reporter to confirm if they were specifically asking about his own sexuality. The reporter admitted to their curiosity, to which Hardy curtly replied, "Thank you," effectively ending the discussion. Will Smith. The 94th Academy Awards became unforgettable due to an unexpected altercation between Will Smith and Chris Rock. Seated in the front row with his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, Will Smith initially appeared to be in good spirits. Comedian Chris Rock took the stage and during his routine made a joke about Jada's shaved head, a sensitive topic given her battle with alopecia. At first, Will laughed along with the audience, but his demeanor shifted rapidly. He stunned the crowd by standing up, walking onto the stage and slapping Rock across the face. Upon returning to his seat, an incensed Smith shouted profanities at Rock.
Out your f***ing mouth!
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
Keep my wife's...
demanding he keep Jada's name out of his mouth. The atmosphere in the room grew tense as it became evident the confrontation was not a scripted bit, but a genuine outburst. The incident cast a long shadow over the evening, especially when Smith won the Best Actor award for his role in King Richard later that night. What should have been a triumphant and celebratory moment for Smith was marred by his earlier actions. During his acceptance speech, Smith apologized to the Academy and his fellow nominees, reflecting on the pressures of the industry and the need to endure public scrutiny and disrespect. The slap sparked widespread debate and discussion about boundaries, respect, and the handling of sensitive issues within the entertainment industry. Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway encountered an uncomfortable moment during an interview while promoting her film One Day. The incident occurred when the interviewer subtly alluded to her upcoming role in The Dark Knight Rises, where she would portray Catwoman, a character famously known for her form-fitting catsuit. Here's how the encounter unfolded. During the interview, the interviewer hinted about Hathaway wearing the catsuit in The Dark Knight Rises and jokingly suggested she had to fit into it in a certain way. Hathaway, maintaining her composure, responded with a light-hearted remark, acknowledging the physical demands of the role and crediting her team for the effort required to fit into the costume. As the interview continued, the tone shifted when the interviewer pressed further, asking about Hathaway's weight for the role and seeming slightly persistent. Hathaway, though visibly annoyed, remained composed and redirected the conversation to the dedication she was putting into embodying the character, avoiding a direct response to the body-related question.
How much weight have you lost to get into this shape right now?
You did not just ask me that
I'm
question.
just saying, you're like,
what a forward young man you are.
Recognizing the discomfort of the moment, the interviewer eventually apologized, clarifying that they were only joking and did not intend to offend Hathaway. Hathaway, with grace and professionalism, accepted the apology, diffusing the tension with a laugh.
I'm sorry if I offended you.
You didn't at all. I'm just messing with you.
Similar instances have occurred in Hathaway's career where interviewers have veered into sensitive territory. For instance, during the press tour for Les Miserables, Hathaway faced questions about her dramatic weight loss for the role of Fantine. She navigated these inquiries diplomatically, emphasizing the dedication required for her performance rather than delving into personal details about her body transformation.
I never wanted to go on and on about it, but that weight loss was not a long-term good thing for my health, and it took a really long time to come back from it.
Kanye West. In September 2013, Kanye West sat down with Zane Lowe for an interview on BBC Radio 1. The stage was set for a deep talk about West's latest album, Yeezus, and his thoughts on the music and fashion industries. Things started smoothly, but soon took a fiery turn when Lowe asked about West's frustrations with the fashion world and his struggle for creative control. West's temper flared. "I am a god," he proclaimed, launching into a passionate rant about the barriers he faced and the lack of respect from the fashion elite.
Where, just like that, when someone comes up and says something like, I am a god, everybody says, who does he think he is? I just told you who I thought I was, a god. I just told you, that's who I think I am.
The intensity of his response was clear, turning what could have been a routine interview into a headline-grabbing moment. Fast forward to February 2015, and Kanye West found himself in another heated interview, this time on The Breakfast Club. Known for their tough questions, the host didn't hold back, especially Charlemagne Thargood. When Charlemagne brought up West's ex-girlfriend Amber Rose and his then-wife Kim Kardashian, it struck a nerve. West's demeanor shifted as he defended Kim and criticized Amber, his frustration boiling over. The personal nature of the questions led to a tense atmosphere, with West struggling to keep his composure. Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix attended an interview with The Telegraph to discuss his deep immersion into his character and the profound themes of his film Joker. The aim was to delve into the intricate layers of the movie and Phoenix's approach to his role. However, the conversation took an unexpected turn when the journalist posed a controversial question. Are you worried that this film might perversely end up inspiring exactly the kind of people it's about, with potentially tragic consequences? This inquiry, loaded with implications about the actor's responsibility for the impact of his portrayal, visibly unsettled Phoenix. His reaction was immediate yet measured, a mix of surprise and discomfort evident in his response. Why? Why would you No, he queried, grappling with the weight of the question and its implications. Then, he stood up, shuffled towards the interviewer, clasped his hands, and walked out of the room. Instances of celebrities losing their composure during interviews due to disrespectful questions highlight the importance of respecting boundaries and keeping the discussion focused on relevant topics.